All right, for our second video this week, we are going to look at actions. As the more you work in Photoshop, the more you're going to notice there are things that you do a lot, that you are very repetitive processes, whether it's changing resolution or file type or, any color mode, any of those things. Or maybe you just, convert a lot of photos to grayscale or you desaturate them, whatever that may be. Photoshop has some automated features to make that a little quicker and easier for you. Now I'm going to open up an image. I gave you a folder full of images called sample photos. All right, I'm going to open up one of them for right now. So I'm going to scroll down to find sample photos. I'm just going to open up the first one. All right, here's what I have. So let's open up the actions folder. Sometimes it's nested next to the history panel. If not, you can go to Window and go to Actions and click that to open it. All right, and you're going to get a folder that has default actions in it. All right, now Photoshop gives you a lot of default actions, and what these are basically recorded steps that have been done that you can run on a photo. So I'm going to move my history panel down here so you can actually see what's going on whenever we do this. All right. So looking at these actions, I'll just try a few. Now, some of these I've created myself, so you won't have them, so yours won't look exactly like mine. But for example, let's say I want to add a wood frame to this image. So I select wood frame, and some of these are kind of cheesy, some of them are really cool. So I'll select this wood frame action, and I'll come down here. At the bottom, we have record, we have play, we have new folder, new action, and trash. All right. So I'm just going to run this the play feature, and it'll say it must be minimum. Okay, it is. So I'll hit continue, and automatically Photoshop does all this stuff, and you end up with this kind of cheesy looking frame. All right. But now look at your history panel. All we did was open that image and run the action, but look at all the things that have been done. Select canvas, save selection, canvas size, duplicate channel, free transform. All this stuff just happened in the blink of an eye in the background. So you can start to get an idea of how useful these actions can be. Now, I'm going to go back in my history to open. Okay, so there are several of these, and you can kind of play around with these as you want to. There's some custom RGB to grayscale is useful. Sepia tone is useful. I'll run that just so you can see it. It just gives you a nice sepia tone image. So there are several things you can do. What's even more neat or useful about these actions is that you can create your own. You can record your own. And now we're going to do one as an example, but this could be, you could record actions for anything that you want to do. All right, anything that you do repetitively or would like to streamline. So we're going to do some things to this photo just so it's noticeable. All right. So first of all, I'm going to make this photo square. So I'm going to, well, we need to start recording first before we do anything. All right. So in the actions panel, I'm going to go down here to the new action icon. I'm going to click that. Now it needs to be in a folder. So we're just going to put it in default actions because that's the only folder I have right now. And we're going to name this, I don't know, photo effect, something generic, but so we can find it. All right, photo effect is the name of our action. And whenever you're ready, you hit record. All right, and you'll see the red light comes on down here at the bottom. That means we're recording now, not in real time or anything, but anything that we do to this photo is going to be recorded to this action. So I'm going to get my rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to make this a square photo. So I'm going to hold down Shift and click and drag from the edge out to the bottom, and that's going to give me a square selection. I hold down Shift, and it's going to be perfectly square. All right. So now I can move this wherever I want to. And I think I'm just going to leave it on the left side for the sake of this assignment. Once I get that square marching ant selection, I'm going to go up to Image. I'm going to crop it. All right. So you'll see right here we've set our selection and we've cropped. This is being recorded into our action right now. All right. So then I'm going to deselect. Go to Select, Deselect, or Command D or Control D. Next, I'm going to, let's add a vignette to it. All right, so I'm going to go to Filter, to Camera Raw Filter, and it'll open up our Camera Raw dialog. See if I can bring this in so you can see it. And I'm going to go to the FX tab over here, and you remember we did this a few weeks ago. And I'm going to go to Post Crop Vignetting and give us a nice little vignette around the edges, a dark thing. Now click OK. And you'll see what we're doing in the history, and you also see what we're doing in the actions panel. Okay. So now let's add a filter, for example. All right. So I'll go to filter. We'll open the filter gallery, and that's actually kind of interesting. So I'm going to go under distort. We have all these different folders. I'm going to go to distort. I'm going to click on ocean ripple. Kind of like that one. It looks like you're looking through glass or something, like that textured glass. And you have ripple size, ripple magnitude. I have both mine set at 9. Doesn't have to be exactly like mine. And then I'm going to click OK, and that's going to be applied to my photo. Now, if we were done here, we could click stop. I'm going to do one more thing. No, we'll leave it like that. All right. So if we were done making our, whatever we're doing, our edits, we could click stop, and then we could run this action on any photo that we open up. However, I'm going to do one more step. It's going to make our lives even easier. I'm going to do a save as. All right. So now I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to choose. I'm just going to save this to my desktop for right now. All right. And we're going to name this Edited. We're not going to actually be using this particular photo that we're saving, but it's just we're creating the action. So I'm going to save this as a JPEG and click Save. And it's going to ask for the quality. 10 is fine. So I'll click OK, and you'll see Save is our last step. Now what this is going to do is allow us to run this action on an entire folder of photos. If you don't do this save step, you're going to have to open up each photo individually and run the action. So it'll still save you some time. But if you add save as the last step in your action, then you can open up you can just select a folder and it's going to run it on all of those images and then save all of those images separately. All right, you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a second. So whenever I have this action the way I want it, I'm going to click stop. All right. So now we have our photo effect action. And the really interesting thing about actions is you can open up each one of these and it's going to tell you exactly how much it was cropped. It's going to tell you, what filters were used and all that. Whenever you run these in the future, you can actually remove steps. You can hide steps. So very customizable actions that you can run. We're not going to worry about that for the purposes of this assignment. So we have our photo effect action down here at the bottom. I'm going to close this image, not worry about saving it or where it is or anything like that. All right. So we have our action saved. Now this action is going to be available no matter what image you have open. These actions are accessible from anytime you have Photoshop open. And you can actually export them to other computers as well. And your book talks about that. So let's say I have an entire image or entire folder of images now, which I do. I've given you five images in the sample photos folder. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to File, down to Automate, and the first option is Batch, and that's what I was talking about. So we're going to click on Batch, and you're going to get this big dialog box. It's kind of confusing looking, and just take a look at each piece. So play, the set is the default actions. That's the folder, and the action you're going to see photo effect should be there. Usually it has the last action that was created listed here, but you could also choose any of the others there. We're going to leave it on photo effect. All right. Then the source. Where are we going to find images that we're going to apply this to? We're going to choose a folder, and you go down to Desktop, Sample Folders, wherever you have that Sample Photos folder saved. Now you don't need to choose any of these. We're just choosing the folder. Click Choose, and it'll show you the path: Users, Desktop, Sample Photos. For these, this is kind of a trial and error thing. I've done this enough that I know what we want to do. Leave the first one unchecked. Include all subfolders, check, even though we don't have any subfolders. Suppress this, you can leave unchecked, and then suppress color profile warnings, we'll leave that checked. So unchecked, checked, unchecked, checked. All right, errors, stop for errors is fine. Then over here, destination. What do we do with these images once we've done all the stuff to them that we're going to do? Now, you have a few options. You have save and close. That will just open an image that you have and affect it destructively and then save it. So generally, you don't want to do that because it's always good to leave a kind of a breadcrumb trail. All right, you don't want to edit all of your images and then not have the originals anymore. So what I'm going to do is save them to a separate folder. So I'm going to choose folder, my destination. I'm going to choose and click on my desktop, and I'm actually going to create a new folder. And we'll name this Sample Photos Edited. All right. Click Create. And then we're going to choose that folder that we just created. You'll see right there. All right. Then you can leave Override Action Save As commands checked. Now this is the naming logic. So right now it's just going to name it the document name that it is plus the extension. And you got to have the extension on there. If we wanted it to be, if we wanted to add dates and all that kind of stuff, we could. The extension always needs to be last. So we could add a date or a number, which is really useful if you're, if you have a series of the same kind of photo, you can add numbers to them, or you want to know what day they were shot, all this kind of stuff. We're just going to leave this as is because we have them in a separate folder, edited folder. Starting serial number if you want to do that. Compatibility, if you're on a Windows machine, this will probably be checked. So once you get everything the way you want it, you click OK, and you're going to see Photoshop do a bunch of stuff. It's opening up all those photos that are in that folder and applying all those effects to them, and we're done. So, a few seconds, doesn't look like much happened, but let's open up this edited folder, the Sample Photos Edited. You'll see we now have 5 images in here where there weren't any in there before, and when I open them up, we have applied that action to all of the folder, all of the images in that folder automatically. So they're all square, they all have that ripple effect, they all have a vignette. That's pretty cool. Now imagine how useful this would be if instead of 5 photos, you had 100 photos in there. You press play, you go get a cup of coffee, you come back, all your work is done for you. So that's the power of action. So this week, you don't have to do as much work. I've been making you do a lot of work. This week, we're going to make Photoshop do the bulk of the work. So to submit this assignment, you're going to use another automated feature that we've done before to create a PDF, a single PDF out of those 5 photos. So in Photoshop, we'll go to File, down to Automate, PDF Presentation. We're going to go find those images. Now make sure you go to the edited folder, not the original folder. So Sample Photos Edited, and I'm just going to click on the first one and then hold down Shift and click on the last one to select them. Click Open, you'll see all of them appear here. This you can leave as default or make sure your settings are the same as mine. Click Save. It'll ask you where you want to save it. Save it to your desktop, wherever you want to. And we'll name this Actions. All right, click Save, Save PDF. And it should show up whenever it's done saving. And that is the file that you're going to submit to Blackboard, that single PDF, which is right here. And then I can just scroll through and give you a perfect grade. I hope. All right, I'll see you next time.